Welcome to the Waylon perspective. Please like and press that subscribe button. I appreciate it very much. This is my reaction to Sissel Kyrkjebø performing Solveig's song, originally by Edvard Grieg. Let's commence. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm trying to as calmly convey this to you as I can. This is freaking epic. Classical music on the stage. Young Sissel Kyrkjebø stepping out, joining all of these classical musicians on that stage and allowing her classically awesomely beautiful voice to fill this arena, this auditorium, this theater, just with utter brilliance. Ladies and gentlemen, this lady, she is one of the most phenomenal performers you will ever have the privilege of hearing. And her voice just absolutely coming into this awesomely lush instrumentation. And just, ladies and gentlemen, this lady sings like nobody's business. We've barely just started the song, but this all sounds so incredible. What was the guy? The conductor. I also want to conduct, ladies and gentlemen. I also want to lead a group of esteemed, awesome classical musicians, through the song, while a brilliant singer like Sissel Kyrkjebø performs and graces us all with her brilliance. This is just wonderful stuff. This is sounding fantastic. Beautiful, utterly beautiful vocalization. Sissel is just, ladies and gentlemen, this lady, her vocal abilities, they are just, ladies and gentlemen, it's unmatched stuff here. What a brilliant performer she is. Every single time I've watched her, ladies and gentlemen, it has just been breathtaking stuff. And this is no different right here. This is sounding some kind of epic. She's telling this story here, ladies and gentlemen. There's a story being told, and it's wonderful stuff. Her voice is taking us on this incredible journey through the music, which is just sounding phenomenal in the background as well. But her voice is an instrument of utter beauty, ladies and gentlemen. It is guiding us, and it is just sounding phenomenal. Sissel is just such a memorable performer, ladies and gentlemen. This does seem like, in terms of the video quality of 4:3, this does seem like an old school performance, but she is absolutely giving it her all on that stage, and she is sounding so fantastic. Phew, ladies and gentlemen. And then on top of everything, just emotion, just all throughout the song as well. Her voice is just next level beautiful. And then, the words that she is singing here as well, it's just absolutely, ladies and gentlemen, this stuff's making me just feel so many different emotions here. I appreciate this incredible vocal performance by a master of her craft, ladies and gentlemen, Sissel Kyrkjebø. Ladies and gentlemen, this lady, this talent, how are you ever going to question that? That is just unmatched brilliance all the way through. Sissel is she's fantastic, ladies and gentlemen. I do not know what else to say to convey to you the level to which I respect this lady's unbelievable musical abilities. She is just phenomenal. Any compliment you can think of, she deserves it. She is so good. And this performance here, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, I've reacted to many Sissel performances, but every time I see her sing, it is just such an experience. Her abilities, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, this is unbelievable, is what I'm saying. It's unbelievable. Solveig's song forms part of the incidental music that the Norwegian composer Edvard Grieg wrote at the request of the playwright Henrik Ibsen for the 1867 play Peer Gynt. Peerless, utter brilliance by Sissel right there, ladies and gentlemen. Young Sissel, all the way back in 1991. That is when this performance happened on stage. Humbly, accepting the applause from that audience. Ladies and gentlemen, I personally needed that audience to be way more rapturous. I needed them to give a standing ovation for what was a brilliantly spectacular vocal performance by just one of the very best herself. Sissel, just utterly stunning, ladies and gentlemen. What words can I use to convey to you how brilliant that was? Think of all those words. Homework for you, the viewer. Think of all those brilliant adjectives, those descriptive words, and then apply them to this unbelievably astounding, beautiful, stunningly brilliant vocal performance by Sissel Kyrkjebø. Ladies and gentlemen, that was so impressive. The music, her voice, just perfectly matched, and all of it just taking us through this journey of brilliance. And I mean, ladies and gentlemen, everything was coming at me there. Emotion, just unbelievable beauty, just, flawless awesomeness. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate experiencing things like these, ladies and gentlemen. It's phenomenal. It just shows you things like this. It shows you what we as people are capable of. This is old school music from way back, taken from a play, composed way back in the day, ladies and gentlemen, but it just remains timeless. Music like this absolutely transcending time, the decades and beyond, and a voice like Sissel's absolutely similarly transcending time, ladies and gentlemen. She is just, ladies and gentlemen, this performer, what she does will always be appreciated, for the rest of time. Hundreds of years from now, when we're all gone, well, most of us anyway, when we're all gone, let's say 500 years from now, when we're all gone, Sissel's voice, her music, her performances will remain. And the people who are alive then, and I'm assuming it won't just be AI, it will be actual people, they will still be able to appreciate the incredible talent and vocal abilities of Sissel Kyrkjebø. She is utterly amazing, ladies and gentlemen. She is a phenomenon, a vocal genius. And I appreciated every second of that performance. That was simply breathtakingly beautiful and utterly fantastic. That was awesome. The legacy of Sissel Kyrkjebø will always remain. That was yet another exquisite vocal performance.